5 years ago, I sat in my Uncle Peter's expansive home office, trying to explain my business plan to my assembled family. The leather chairs probably cost more than my entire startup budget, and everyone's expressions made it clear they thought I was wasting their time. A tech consulting company? Uncle Peter leaned back, swirling his expensive scotch. Emma, be realistic. The market is saturated. What could you possibly offer that IBM or Accenture doesn't already do better? I took a deep breath, pushing forward despite their dismissive looks. Avalon Technologies isn't just another consulting firm. We're developing AI-driven solutions that can dash. Artificial intelligence? My cousin Thomas snorted. You've been watching too many sci-fi movies, cuz. It's not science fiction, I insisted. The technology exists. We're just applying it in new ways, revolutionizing how businesses handle dash. Emma, honey. Aunt Claire's voice dripped with false sympathy. You have an accounting degree from a state school. Leave the real tech innovation to people who actually understand it. I looked around the room at my successful family members. Uncle Peter, the investment banker who prided himself on never touching a computer. Thomas and his sister Victoria, both coasting through cushy corporate jobs their father had arranged. My own parents sitting silently in the corner, clearly embarrassed by my ambitions. I've already secured initial funding, I continued, determined to finish my presentation. A small angel investment dash. How small? Uncle Peter interrupted. 200,000. The room erupted in laughter. Oh, sweetie, Aunt Claire wiped her eyes. Peter's last deal was worth 50 million. 200,000 isn't even a real investment. I gripped my portfolio tighter. It's enough to start. We already have a working prototype and dash. Emma, Uncle Peter cut me off again, his voice turning serious. Let me give you some advice. Stick to simple work. Something safe, something at your level. The tech industry isn't for people like you. People like me? You know what I mean. You're not. He gestured vaguely, built for that world. Thomas and Victoria, they understand business. They have the right connections, the right background. Thomas smirked. Yeah, cuz. Leave the big leagues to us. Maybe we'll hire you as an accountant once you give up on this startup fantasy. I looked at my cousins, both perfectly groomed in designer clothes bought with their trust funds. Neither had ever built anything on their own, never taken a real risk. I'm not giving up, I said quietly. Then you'll fail, Uncle Peter declared. And don't come crying to us when you do. The market has no patience for dreamers who don't know their place. I stood up, gathering my things. Thank you for your time. Emma, my mother finally spoke up. Maybe they're right. There's nothing wrong with a normal job. Safe, secure. Simple, I finished for her. Yes, I know. That's all you think I'm capable of. I walked out of that house with their laughter following me, but instead of discouraging me, it fueled something deeper. A determination to prove them all wrong. The next 3 years were a blur of 18-hour workdays, instant ramen dinners, and constant hustle. I sold my car, moved into a tiny studio apartment, and poured everything into Avalon Technologies. Our first breakthrough came 6 months in. Our AI system caught the attention of a mid-sized tech firm struggling with efficiency issues. They agreed to a pilot program, implementing our software across their operations. The results exceeded everyone's expectations. Productivity increased by 40%. Costs dropped by half. The client immediately signed a long-term contract. So I kept our success quiet. Avalon Technologies operated through subsidiaries and holding companies, our ownership structure carefully obscured. To the tech world, we were just another promising startup. To my family, I was still their foolish relative chasing impossible dreams. Still playing entrepreneur? Thomas would ask at holiday gatherings. You know, Dad's firm is always hiring junior analysts. I'd smile and change the subject, not mentioning that Avalon had just acquired our third major competitor. 2 years in, we revolutionized the industry with our adaptive AI platform. While traditional consulting firms took months to analyze and implement solutions, our system could diagnose and fix problems in real time. The contracts started pouring in. Fortune 500 companies, tech giants, government agencies, everyone wanted Avalon's technology. I moved the company to a sleek office tower downtown, though I kept our original modest space for meetings with people who didn't need to know our true scale. At least Emma has a real office now, Aunt Claire commented at Christmas dinner. Even if it is in that shabby part of town. I didn't mention that we owned the entire building. Then came the tech market crash. Companies started folding left and right. Traditional consulting firms, unable to adapt to the new reality, laid off thousands. Including Thomas and Victoria. I watched through industry contacts as my cousins' perfect lives unraveled. Thomas's firm downsized, eliminating his position along with his corner office. Victoria's company merged with a competitor, making her role redundant. Uncle Peter's investment bank wasn't doing much better. Their outdated methods and resistance to technological innovation were catching up with them. The whole industry's falling apart, he complained at family gatherings. These tech startups are destroying traditional business models. I hid my smile behind my wine glass. Meanwhile, Avalon Technologies thrived. Our AI systems helped clients navigate the crisis, adapting to changes faster than any human analyst could. We expanded globally, opened new offices, and continued innovating while our competitors struggled to survive. Still, I maintained my modest appearance around family. Drove an ordinary car to family functions, wore simple clothes, played the role they expected. Until the day everything changed. I was reviewing quarterly reports in my real office, the penthouse suite with its commanding view of the city, when my assistant buzzed in. Miss Chin? Your cousins Thomas and Victoria are in the lobby. They're here about the entry-level positions. I looked at their resumes on my screen submitted through our HR portal. They had no idea they were applying to their simple cousin's company. Send them to the regular interview room, I said. The one in our old office downtown. And should I tell them who they're meeting with? I smiled, thinking of all the times they'd dismissed my dreams, mocked my ambitions, treated me like I was beneath them. No, I replied. Let them find out in person. The time had finally come to show my family exactly what simple work looked like. I took my time driving to our downtown office, watching through the security feeds on my tablet as Thomas and Victoria waited in the modest reception area. They sat stiffly on the worn furniture, clearly uncomfortable in a space so beneath their usual standards. This can't be right, I heard Victoria whisper, eyeing the dated decor. Avalon Technologies is supposed to be worth billions. Thomas adjusted his designer tie nervously. Maybe this is just their HR office or something. If they only knew that the shabby office was a carefully maintained facade, a filter that helped us identify candidates who could see beyond appearances. I parked my ordinary Toyota in the street, deliberately bypassing the private garage where my actual car, a custom Tesla, was stored. Today's revelation needed to unfold perfectly. They've been waiting 40 minutes. My assistant Sarah reported via text. Victoria's checked her makeup 6 times. Thomas keeps name-dropping your uncle to anyone who'll listen. Perfect. I stepped into the reception area, dressed in the same kind of simple business attire I wore to family functions. Neither of my cousins looked up, both too absorbed in their phones to notice me. Thomas and Victoria Henderson? I said professionally. Victoria glanced up, then did a double take. Her phone clattered to the floor. Emma. Thomas stood up so quickly he nearly tripped. What are you working here too? You could say that. I gestured toward the conference room. Shall we begin the interview? They followed me in stunned silence. Once seated, Victoria found her voice first. Look, this is awkward. We're here to interview with Avalon's executive team, not. The executive team? I sat down at the head of the table. I am the executive team. Thomas laughed nervously. Come on, Emma. We know Avalon Technologies is one of the biggest tech consulting firms in the world. They're not going to put someone like. You're not. Not what? I pulled out my tablet, projecting their resumes onto the wall screen. Not qualified. Not successful enough. Not built for that world. The color drained from their faces as recognition set in. Those were Uncle Peter's exact words from 5 years ago. You. Victoria whispered. You own Avalon Technologies. Founded it. Built it. Grew it into what you see today. I swiped through screens showing our global operations, client list, and market valuation. Well, not what you see here, obviously. This office is just for preliminary interviews. Our real headquarters is somewhat more impressive. But Dad said your startup failed, Thomas protested weakly. He said you were working some regular accounting job. Your father says a lot of things. I pulled up another screen, Uncle Peter's firm's rapidly declining market position. He also said traditional investment banking would never be disrupted by tech. How's that working out? Victoria straightened in her chair, attempting to recover her usual poise. Well, clearly we were wrong about you. But now that we know, surely we can skip this entry-level nonsense. We have years of executive experience. Do you? I scrolled through their employment history. Because all I see are cushy titles handed to you by your father's connections. No real achievements. No innovations. No actual skills. We have plenty of skills. Thomas insisted. Really? Tell me how artificial intelligence works. Explain blockchain technology. Show me you understand anything about the modern business landscape. Silence. That's what I thought. I closed their files. The positions you're applying for are genuine entry-level roles. Data entry, basic analysis, learning the fundamentals you should have learned years ago instead of coasting on your family name. This is ridiculous. Victoria stood up. We're Hendersons. We don't do entry-level. Then you don't work at Avalon. I shrugged. There's the door. Though I'm not sure what other options you have, given the current job market. They exchanged panicked looks, remembering their dire financial situations. The salary, Thomas began hesitantly, is $45,000 a year. Standard benefits. No special treatment. That's less than our monthly shopping budget used to be, Victoria whispered, sinking back into her chair. Welcome to simple work, I said. The kind your father thought was all I was good for. Just then my actual assistant's voice came through my earpiece. Miss Chin, your uncle just arrived at the main office. He's demanding to speak with Avalon's CEO about his children's applications. I smiled. Perfect timing. Thomas, Victoria, would you like to see our real headquarters? 20 minutes later, we walked into Avalon's true office building, 60 stories of glass and steel, our logo shining atop the city skyline. My cousin's expressions shifted from shock to awe as we rode the private elevator to the penthouse level. Uncle Peter was waiting in the reception area, his face red with anger. What is the meaning of this? I demand to speak with Emma. Hello, Uncle Peter. I walked past him into my office, gesturing for them all to follow. I believe you were demanding to speak with Avalon's CEO? Well, here I am. He stood frozen in the doorway, taking in the spectacular view, the wall of industry awards, the digital displays showing our global operations. This is impossible, he whispered. No, I sat behind my desk. This is what happens when you underestimate the wrong person. When you dismiss dreams as fantasies. When you tell someone to stick to simple work because you can't imagine them being capable of more. All this time, Victoria said, at every family gathering, I watched you all celebrate mediocrity while mocking actual achievement. I pulled up our company's latest valuation. Avalon Technologies is now worth $12 billion. Your father's entire firm wouldn't cover our monthly R&D budget. Uncle Peter sank into a chair. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? Or would you have tried to take control, to do things your way, to claim credit for my success? We could have helped, he insisted weakly. Like you're helping Thomas and Victoria? How's that working out? Silence fell over the room. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, we could see their old offices in the distance. Buildings that now seemed small and insignificant from this height. So what now? Thomas asked quietly. Now you have a choice. I stood up, walking to the window. You can take the entry-level positions, learn the business properly, earn your way up based on merit rather than nepotism. Or you can leave and try your luck elsewhere. And me? Uncle Peter's voice had lost all its former authority. You. I turned back to face him. You get to watch your children learn the value of simple work. The kind you thought was beneath them. 1 month later, Thomas and Victoria started their new jobs in data entry. No corner offices, no executive titles, no special treatment. Just honest work and real learning. Uncle Peter retired shortly after, his firm eventually absorbed by a larger bank that understood the importance of technological innovation. At the next family gathering, I finally drove my Tesla, wore clothes that reflected my success, and let them see exactly who I'd become while they were busy underestimating me. I still can't believe it, my mother said, watching Thomas and Victoria leave in their modest used cars. All this time you were building an empire. No, Mom. I smiled, thinking of that first meeting in Uncle Peter's office. I was proving that there's no such thing as simple work. There are only simple minds who can't see beyond their own limitations. The next day, I had a new plaque installed in our entry-level office downtown. It read, "Every great achievement starts with someone being told to dream smaller." Below it, I hung a single framed photo of Uncle Peter's face the moment he realized his simple niece had surpassed everything he'd ever achieved. Sometimes the best success isn't just proving people wrong. It's giving them front row seats to watch you soar beyond their limited imagination. And I was just getting started.